Hello once again, filmy internet friends. How are we today? So there's been something that's been playing on my mind recently, and I kind of wanted to address it and get my thoughts out about it. It's probably going to be a little bit controversial, but hey, what is the internet without a little bit of controversy? This isn't even a film review. I don't even really think I can classify this as a Drew's News, because it's not really news, it's just opinion. So maybe it's just in that grey area in the middle, who knows. Disney and Marvel recently announced that they were pushing back Black Widow's release again to July 9th this year. But they also announced that it would be getting a day-on-date release through Disney Premier Access on Disney Plus, as well as being released in theaters. Now, I have notes. But these notes kind of come in two forms. Firstly, that the delays are good, and secondly, the problems that people have been having with it. Now, firstly, I am actually of the opinion that Marvel and Disney pushing back the release of Black Widow so that it can be released in theaters as closely to the pandemic being over as possible has actually worked secretly in favor for Marvel and their film releases. Let me explain why. So by the time the Black Widow actually gets its release in theaters, it will have been a solid 2 years since our last theatrical Marvel Cinematic Universe film release, which was Spider-Man: Far From Home. Now picture this, if you will. If the pandemic had occurred any other point in the history of Marvel Cinematic Universe films release, it probably would have killed Marvel Studios even worse than this already has. Can you imagine having a 2-year extended gap between Infinity War and Avengers Endgame? Okay, maybe people would have been itching more for its release. Everyone would have been geared up to find out what happens for it. But ultimately, I think it would have destroyed so many hypes for the film being released that by the time Endgame actually did come out after that 2-year gap, people might have lost interest in it. No, my theory is this. Having this extended gap between Cinematic Universe Marvel films being released has actually helped everyone kind of take a breath for a second. The whole Infinity Saga was ramping up, introducing new characters, having crossovers, building this universe, all gearing up towards the climax that was Infinity War and Endgame. Now, after Endgame put that full stop on the Infinity Saga and Spider-Man: Far From Home with the kind of PS post-credits scene to all of that, everyone kind of got to take a step back a little bit, have a breather, have that rest, a palate cleanser after your huge main meal. You don't want to dive straight into the dessert right away. No, you want to take a little bit of a breath. Have a little of that, little lemon lime sorbet. Cleanse your palate. Now, we are at the point where people are ready to accept Marvel Cinematic Universe films again without the danger of us getting completely burned out on them. Granted, for the second half of 2021, we're due 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe films in the space of just over 6 months. This includes Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Eternals, and Spider-Man: No Way Home. So all of that burnout that we avoided by having films just continue to be released after Endgame and Far From Home, to just kind of keep coming at you, we're now going to experience in the space of maybe 6 months with having 4 cinematic universe Marvel films be released. And granted, WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier have both been doing incredibly well on Disney Plus since the start of the year, and WandaVision was a great reintroduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the sense that it gave us something really new and different, and it shook things up. I think if this had come out right after Avengers Endgame, it probably would have just been swept to one side, and a lot of people would have gone, nah, it's really different, maybe we don't need to watch this right now. But because people have had the time to step back from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, take a breather, and be ready for more again, it gave us something entirely different. And the best part is, people were ready to accept that. And now with the return of the cinematic universe to films and theatres, it's a really good thing that they're starting back up on a character that has already been established, that we've known about. It's not like we're receiving something so brand new that we have to re-engage our brains to accept a new character. No, we're getting Black Widow, which is why having these constant delays to the film being released means that people are ready to go back to the cinemas for it. We're ready. We want to go back at this point. It's also going to be the jumpstart to the cinema industry that they're going to need after a global pandemic and being closed for this amount of time, which I think is a really sensible thing to do. My other thought on this is sort of petty, but in the grand scheme of things, it kind of isn't. It makes a lot of sense. So I have seen a lot of people complaining that Black Widow is going to be released on Disney Plus as well through Premier Access. Now, I kind of can't understand whether people are disappointed that it's getting released through Disney Plus Premier Access as well as theatres, and whether that will kill the theatre industry, which I honestly don't think it will. I think if people want to go and see the film in cinemas, they're gonna go. Or whether people are disappointed that they still have to pay. I've seen so many people complain that what they get charged to watch Premier Access films on Disney is too much, and it's more than what it would be in cinemas. And my opinion on that is basically, well, Premier Access isn't designed for you then. Premier Access is designed for people that might not be able to get to the cinema, or take their whole family because they can't be protected, or they're still shielding, or they don't want to go to a crowded area at this point, or they haven't been vaccinated yet. It's for them, so that they can still watch it. Ultimately, the choice that the execs have made to release it both in theatres and on Premier Access gives people that exact choice over what to do. Sure, £20 on Disney Premier Access might, in a lot of places, be roughly the same as what you're paying to get into the cinema, but in other places it might not be, so that's your options there. But the overwhelming sense of people just complaining that they have to pay extra on a subscription service that they're already paying for seems a bit nonsensical when one of the world's biggest ones, Amazon Prime, pretty much charges you for everything on there, even after you sign up to their subscription fee. If the film was released on Amazon Prime, you would still be paying for a one-time rental fee of a home premiere film, whereas on Disney Plus, you pay that money and you have it for as many times as you care to watch it. That, to me, sounds like a better deal. Frankly, even though I am subscribed to Amazon Prime for a few select shows that come out that I want to see on there, the fact that I still have an occasional want to view a film that I have in my mind and I go to find it on Amazon Prime and I still need to pay £3.50 to rent it for 48 hours, little bit of insult to injury there. So I guess the people that are complaining about Disney Plus Premier Access are people that maybe just don't have Amazon Prime or know how that works. But even so, Jeff Bezos and Disney still getting my money. But at the moment, I know which one I would rather pay through to have unlimited access to that film. Because basically, if I couldn't make it to the cinema to watch Black Widow, if I paid for it on Premiere Access, I would get to watch it as many times as I wanted. And if it's that good a film, I would probably want to watch it immediately again anyway. And this way, I've got it. I can just put it straight on. I don't need to wait for the next showing and buy another ticket. It's there. Anyway, these are just the mad ravings of a person who's had far too much time to think about these things. But what are your opinions on the delays and eventual release of Marvel's Black Widow? Do you think it's a good thing? Are you ready for more Marvel Cinematic Universe movies? What are you most excited to see? And would you be willing to pay through Disney Premiere Access for it? All comments are welcome in the comments section below. Let's talk nerdy. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here and you would like to see some more, you can click right here to subscribe and see some more funky fresh videos from yours truly. And until that point, I'm gonna go away and think about what I can classify this as, because it's definitely not news, it's definitely not a film review. Maybe I'll just call it a grey area video, who knows. My lights are going, I'm gonna turn this off now.